Downton Abbey quietly premiered in the UK in 2010. At the time, no one could have expected how successful it would be on both sides of the Atlantic. In its early days, fans wanted Downton to last forever. However, here's why it ran its course after 6 seasons. Downton Abbey is a show built around an ensemble cast of characters. Even so, certain members of Downton take centre stage: Mary Crawley, Mr. Bates, Branson, and of course, the Dowager Countess. The Crawley matriarch was truly the heart of Downton. Without Maggie Smith as the Dowager there to dole out some wisdom and gossip, the show wouldn't be the same.
How you hate to be wrong.
I wouldn't know. I'm not familiar with the sensation.
In an interview with the Sunday Times, the Downton star announced she would leave the show after its 6th season, before PBS announced it would also be the show's final season. Smith complained that her role on Downton ruined any shred of privacy she had, noting that she could no longer leave her home without being recognised. What's sad is I've gone through my whole life without any of that. I could go round galleries and things on my own, and I just can't do it now. While Smith announced she'd be leaving after the 6th season as the 5th came to a close, show creator Julian Fellowes was telling outlets that he didn't know if Downton Abbey would be cancelled or not, according to Vanity Fair. Throughout the show's run, the Abbey faced all sorts of issues. Lord Grantham blew all of the estate's money in a bogus railway investment, failed to keep up with modernisation, and at several points pondered shutting down Downton and moving his family altogether. In 1926, when Downton's final season takes place, the United Kingdom's general strike led the working class to fight back at the aristocratic system that depended on them for cheap labour. This, coupled with the fact that World War I opened up more opportunities for women, led estates like Downton Abbey to lose their workforce. Adrian Tinniswood, author of The Long Weekend: Life in the English Country House Between the Wars, told Time, "These houses were designed to be served by an army of cheap labour, and certainly by 1930, there's a problem in getting domestic staff for a house." And if keeping staff wouldn't be difficult enough for the Crawleys, estates like Downton Abbey became more and more expensive to operate due to increasing taxes. Filming this decline would have made for vastly different seasons if Downton Abbey hadn't been cancelled.
I know, we are only the caretakers of Downton. But Papa, some things have to change.
For the first 5 seasons, fans of Downton Abbey watched diligently as the characters navigated complicated personal lives while doing their best to save their perpetually at-risk estate. After so many years, however, there's only so much an audience can take of Mary juggling suitors, Edith facing setback after setback, or Downton being on the brink of disaster. By the end of season 5, many of the characters' struggles were on the verge of resolution. Edith escaped to London to finally live with her daughter. Mary said goodbye to the 2 suitors who never stood a chance, and Anna and Mr. Bates were finally reunited. Everything that happened in season 6 was simply icing on the cake. Arguably, the show could have ended after the 5th season. The Downton Abbey fan base became accustomed to, and perhaps grew to love, the chaotic storylines that seemed to grow more absurd with each new episode. But there's only so long a show can go on without tiring out its audience with what are essentially the same storylines with a fresh coat of paint. In a letter to American fans of Downton Abbey published by PBS, show creator Julian Fellowes admitted that the series is ending and that decision will not be reversed. We wanted to leave while we would still be missed and not wait until everyone was dying to see the back of us. In the first 3 seasons, fans watched Mary and Matthew Crawley go from hating each other to falling in love, getting married and having a baby. However, Matthew and Mary's happy ending was short-lived. According to Town & Country, actor Dan Stevens, who played Matthew, chose not to renew his contract after the first 3 seasons. That same year, Downton Abbey also lost Jessica Brown Finlay, who played Sybil Crawley. According to Fellowes, Finlay was upfront from the beginning about her intention to stay for just 3 seasons. After both Stevens and Finlay left, Downton Abbey did find its footing once again. However, when season 5 ended, 2 more characters said their goodbyes. Downton executive producer Gareth Neame told Deadline that the departures of Alan Leach, who played Tom Branson, and Lily James, who played Rose McClare, left the door open for an eventual return. Still, losing 4 main characters in just 5 seasons is a lot for any show, so it's no wonder the showrunners knew it was the right time to close the curtain and cancel the series. Downton Abbey the movie was a long time coming. In a goodbye letter to fans after the series ended in 2015, creator Julian Fellowes revealed, "There may be a movie, I hope there will be, and there may be a stage play or a musical. I have heard all of them mooted." Right he was. About 2 years after the series ended, the Downton Abbey movie was set to begin production. At the time, Michael Edelstein, NBC Universal International Studios president, said the movie had been, quote, "in the works for some time." So while the series may have ended after 6 seasons, it was clearly never really the last fans would see of Downton. With a show that focuses on its characters and setting just as much, if not more than plot, there can always be another story to tell. In 2012, Downton Abbey said goodbye to stars Dan Stevens and Jessica Brown Finlay, who played Matthew and Sybil Crawley, respectively. As if those losses weren't enough, show creator Julian Fellowes hinted that a new project could pull him away from Downton Abbey in an interview with the New York Times conducted just a year later. Fellowes said that while he hoped not to have to begin work on the NBC series The Gilded Age until Downton was finished, it wasn't realistic for him to do both shows at the same time. Fellowes explained, "I would hope that by the time all the hurdles have been cleared, the timing makes it so I can then concentrate on the new series. And if Downton goes on, of course that's not my decision, then it would be with other writers." While handing over the reins of Downton to other writers was a very real possibility Fellowes faced, he did explain to the New York Times that he'd, quote, "prefer to do everything on his terms." Luckily for Downton fans, Fellowes' project didn't pick up steam until well after Downton Abbey ended. In its early days, Downton Abbey focused on the intricate details of everyday life at Downton, like the mystery of a missing wine bottle or frequent bouts of sisterly tension. But in Season 2, all the minutiae started getting tossed aside in favour of larger-than-life plots that felt out of place in the slow-moving world of English aristocracy. According to The Atlantic, the show seemed to lose its footing once the main characters settled into their respective relationships, and that's when some of the more convoluted storylines were introduced. Throughout the course of the show, characters were forced into situations that grew increasingly unrealistic. Mr. Bates and his wife, the sweet-to-a-fault Anna, are both accused of murder, and Matthew Crawley miraculously recovers from being paralysed from the waist down. Later on, Edith has a baby with a man who goes missing while trying to divorce his wife. Despite all this, fans tuned in season after season. In an interview with the New York Times, Downton Abbey creator Julian Fellowes said, "My own belief is that these things have a life, and one of the tricks is to recognise when it's time to come to an end. After 6 seasons, it was Downton Abbey's time." According to the Downton Abbey page on Rotten Tomatoes, the show was generally well received throughout its entire run. However, after an astounding 100% approval rating for Season 2, the show lost its way. The convoluted storylines aren't just the opinions of 1 or 2 scorned reviewers who had a bone to pick with the show. In Season 3, critics agreed that the show's plots became unsatisfactory. The 4th season of Downton Abbey earned a 73%, proving a souring of critical opinion. Season 4, however, proved to be Downton's lowest point, as the 5th and 6th seasons received an 82% and 91% rating respectively, showing that, if anything, the show definitely ended on a high note. Downton Abbey is cemented in a very specific place and time, an English aristocratic house in the early 20th century. The setting alone presents an issue faced uniquely by historical dramas, that is, a race against the progression of history.
Well, what else could we drink to? We're going forward to the future, not back into the past.
If only we had the choice.
The Crawleys' way of life was very much on the way out in the real timeline of historical events. The show spanned 12 years, beginning in 1912 and ending in 1924. Had the show continued on past its 6th season, the Crawleys would have been taken well into the 1930s, at which point it would have been difficult to believe that Downton as an estate would have survived at all. Given the struggles the fictional estate already faced, combined with the Great Depression that lasted from 1929 to 1933, it's unlikely Downton would come out unscathed. In fact, Time reported that many places like Downton were completely demolished as staffing and maintenance became at best difficult and at worst downright impossible. Unfortunately, historical dramas like Downton Abbey are just not meant to carry on for 10 or more seasons like shows with modern settings. Inevitably, time passes them by. Though Downton Abbey was a widely beloved show, it wasn't without its critics, some of whom pointed out that the show presents an idealized version of a time in history when the division between the aristocracy and working class seemed absolute. One reviewer wrote in The Guardian that Downton Abbey presented the world of early 20th century English aristocracy and servitude as amicable and even pleasant, and completely ignored the harsh truths of the period.
He still does not deserve to be addressed in that manner by a footman.
According to one expert the reviewer spoke to, the servants who worked at Downton Abbey would, in real life, be covered in sweat and grime from working all day and never would have had the time to carry out the subplots laid out for them in the show. As for the Crawleys, their kindness, understanding and generosity towards the people who worked for them were a far cry from what those relationships were apparently often really like. After 6 seasons, the story of Downton Abbey was simply finished. When viewers said goodbye to the show, every character was seemingly done with their journey. According to Time, Edith finally found love. Mary met her match in Henry Talbot. Carson and Mrs. Hughes got married, and the Downton estate was comfortably modernising. With all of that settled, what more could the show have done? According to creator Julian Fellows, not much at all. He told Deadline, "What happens in the end with any serial drama is there's a limited number of things that happen to human beings. And I think if you stay too long, you start to repeat. Basically, are we happily married? Do we like our job? Are the children doing well? Are our parents okay? I mean, this is all our lives." When you've explored all of those for all the characters, then I think it's time to say goodbye. And so, with everyone at Downton settled, Fellows decided it was time to say goodbye. According to The Guardian, that goodbye came with a happy ending for nearly every primary character. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favourite shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.